Right, welcome everybody. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome to our first meeting of the year. It's the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board. And I hope all of you have had a good break, a long good break. I have, so hopefully you all have.
In the Philippines.
Yes. So anyway, the meeting will be live streamed and recordings will be available on the Community Board's YouTube channel. Now, if you are sitting in the public gallery, thank you for attending. We welcome your interest in our discussions. Please note that the public gallery should remain quiet during the meeting. Toilets are located in the corridor outside the meeting room. In case of an emergency, please exit via the door at the back of the room. There are 2 staircases to exit the building. Please follow staff directions in the case of an emergency. We start with the karakia. Thank you. Apologies. Are there any apologies? We've got Debbie is on Zoom. I haven't heard from Henk or Gamal. Did anybody?
I thought you had heard from Gamal just before.
No, that was a month ago.
Oh, a month ago. Okay.
But about the meeting today, I haven't heard whether he was going on Zoom or.
No, I haven't heard on.
Okay.
I haven't heard in 5 years.
Right, on to the next item. There were no apologies. Declarations.
What about Henk? Have you heard from him?
No, I haven't heard.
Dixon, I haven't heard.
Okay.
Any declarations of interest? I have to declare an interest in item 11. And who else wants to declare?
So Debbie, you're on mute.
I emailed through the same one, Marie.
Yeah.
Same as
You
your.
have to declare it here at the
Oh,
meeting.
Is he?
Here comes Hank. Right, so it's item 11 also, Debbie?
Correct.
All right. So item 11, Helen will take
Yes,
over.
thank you.
Welcome, Hank.
Apologies for lateness.
All right. So confirmation of previous minutes. Do I have a mover? It's Andre, second Helen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Now we move on to the public forum. Welcome, Gary Watson. Yes, come forward, please. Nice to hear from you again.
Hi, everybody. As you can see, I don't have my council ID on. I've come as a member of the Halswell Lions. So I've really come to say a massive thank you. This is the gazebo that you guys funded for us before Christmas. We used it first time. There's a larger one and a smaller one. We used the larger one at Carol's in the Park, Carol's in the Quarry, sorry. I think we probably had the largest group of people we ever had that year, last year.
Cool.
And I had the privilege of playing Santa Claus since the last Santa Claus was 90. And they decided time to retire him. And in their words, let's put the young fellow in. I like being called a young fella. I don't feel very young, but those that were there on the day will realise that it was a really hot day, really good day. A larger crowd than I had expected to get changed into my Santa Claus outfit. So Santa Claus actually got changed in the refrigeration trailer with all the cold drinks.
How cool.
Which was okay getting changed and coming out, but going back in, I heard a kid say to his dad, where's Santa Claus going? And his father was very quick and said, oh, that's the way to the pole.
Cold anyway.
Yeah. But look, it really is a big thank you. And for me, I just wanted to clarify that as a member of the Lions, I don't do anything around funding. I don't do anything that conflicts with what it is. I've been a member just over a year, and I'm really enjoying it. It's it gets you out, gets you about. And I feel like we're doing good work.
It's good.
So yeah, really from us, it's just a thank you, and appreciate the support.
Good to hear. Andre?
I'm devastated to hear it wasn't the real Santa, but my suspicions actually started running when I saw Santa running for what the caller with what looked like a gut falling out. Which I managed to catch here. Video. I got videos of videos back. It was very enthusiastic Santa. And you got absolutely mobbed with hundreds of children and came out alive. So well done in that regard. I understand actually that the Lions had trouble with the consent for the event or the permit for the event this year round, and this has been going for many decades. But this time around, for some reason, the permit process took months and it was very, very messy. So, am I able to just take this opportunity to make a request and ask that to sort of be investigated and find out what went wrong and how we can avoid that happening again next year? Because it got very, very close to the event before they got their permit that they'd applied for several months beforehand. So they weren't able to go and advertise. They still didn't have their permit.
We can get started.
Nice one. Thank you.
Yeah, I can explain the gut. I had never been prepared for a pillow as a stomach and a jacket that didn't have a button. So I was trying to manipulate between fighting kids off and keeping my belly and my jacket done up. So never knew it was on video though. So
It hasn't been shared anywhere.
I think I
it's here if you
appreciate
need it.
yeah. So once again, thank you very much.
We can add the video to the minutes.
And it is being live streamed, by the way.
It has been lodged.
Yeah, the whole world.
Right, Mark?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'd like to say a big thank you to yourself and the Lions for everything you do. It's not easy work out in the community like that, but thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
Anybody need pea straw on your man, just let me know. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Now, I'll call on Mr. Barry Harcourt. I understand we have heard from you previously, so we normally don't hear if you're going to raise the same issues or talk about the same topic, but hopefully not. So we'll give you a few minutes to welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for giving me this extra opportunity. I have considered the email I got containing the feedback from council officers. Quite frankly, I find it extremely unsatisfactory. And I will not be leaving the matter there. I want to take this matter higher in the council, and I seek your advice as to what is the appropriate steps.
Good Barry. Can you remind me what this issue is about?
Yeah, so this relates, Mr. Harcourt came to the last meeting at the end of last year about the shared path on Island.
On Island Road, that's right.
That's right.
And advice, the board asked for advice, which has now come back.
Has it
It's in
come
the
back
area-
to us?
It's in the area report for this meeting. Mr. Harcourt's come to speak.
So
Okay.
Barry, that was in regards to the paint on the footpath and on the cycleway. I actually biked over that a few days ago
Yeah.
and I saw it at the edge of the uni cycleway. And what was the staff's reply?
So on page 79, the agenda.
There appears to be some project being considered between the university and the council about, and it may be altered, it may not be altered. There's no timeline or anything like that. I have previously asked for a copy of the project plan. Doesn't exist.
Yes.
Now, if this is an item which has been considered for some time, it could have been right at the beginning of before they even started putting down the cycle lanes.
I'm sure.
You know, so we're looking at 4.5 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, The safety of pedestrians cannot be left to possible endangerment for that period of time, because there would be an argument that the council attracts a liability as a result.
Taylor, you?
Yeah, well, I can talk partially on what the broader pedestrian project is. And I'm at the university just a couple of days ago, and they were talking about outside the homestead. They were asking for a crossing point because that's where the bulk of students go. But there tends to be quite a few crossing points across that, across Island Road. You'll know about that.
There would be one within 50 metres of where that might have been intended to be put.
Near Island School. So I can look into that because I'm currently working on that. And if the board want to provide an update, that's cool too. But I'm currently working with the university and staff on that. Cool.
Okay, we have questions also from Helen and then Andre.
I mean, one option we have is that as a board, if we agree, that is, as a majority, we take this to council as a board recommendation. We can probably do it better through a notice of motion at next month's meeting, but that's actually an option because you came to the board, you've got an answer that you don't agree with. I don't agree either. I can't see why they can't take away that white paint. That's all it is, basically.
It should have been done years ago.
And so we could, I'd be prepared to move a notice of motion at our next meeting that we as a board ask council to actually do this. Or the other option you have, I think, is to go to you come to the board, I think, so the board has to handle this. The other option I was going to say is to write to the CEO, but because you've come to us, I think you're probably best to work with us, actually.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
Could I suggest that Tyler and Helen together look to work on this and
bring it back?
Barry?
Well, my view is, do I go and see the chief executive?
Well, that's an option. I'd say it was you hadn't come to the board.
Yeah.
That's an option.
I would have been doing that. I tried to get to the mayor and another councillor.
Well, Tyler's your councillor.
Yeah.
Well, this other councillor lives just around the road from.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Hang on,
That's probably Sam, is it? Yeah.
we're running out of time.
As a result of that, that's why I was put on to here.
Yeah.
We've got
Okay.
just one more from Andre.
Yeah, so just to clarify, staff have said that they are considering it as an option and that there is a review being done. So the chief executive will come back and say exactly that it is being reviewed. So the best thing to do would probably be ask for an update on how that's going. Staff won't be able to say it will be done because it would have to come to the board for a decision. So they couldn't preempt what might come of a review or decision that's made. But it is being considered. So the best thing to do would be ask for an update on how that review is going and what the process is from here.
Well,
Because
this has been
it's being
sitting
considered
around
as an option,
for so long.
which is exactly why we should ask for an update.
Yeah.
but
I mean, I
this
think
is-
I think the
So
staff
it doesn't
can
need
ask.
to be a complicated
that's
situation.
Our
It's
staff
very
can ask
straightforward.
where things are, but I
Yeah.
think if we want some action, I can move a notice of motion next meeting.
But you'd be asking for
And
something
that
that's
goes to
happening.
council.
No,
Um,
no, you
advice.
can't, Helen. You would need a report to ask for it to.
No,
vote.
I can move, with due respect, I can move a notice of motion.
You move a notice of motion, but you would only be asking for a staff to
Oh,
investigate it. You see what I'm saying? And bring back a report of proposal.
Oh, I think we could move a recommendation that once we found out where the staff are from our staff, then we can move a recommendation that the board recommends
Off the
it's
back of a
removed.
report you can do there. I think.
Well, I think I can probably.
It would be good to get an update on the work that's already happening.
In the meantime,
Be good.
Thanks.
shall we just get update from staff? Down here.
And
Headline.
I'll proceed with a notice of motion at our next meeting, and we can see what comes back from staff.
Cool.
All right.
I think that's it.
And-
Then if it's
and
a
Tyler
board
will-
recommendation, and then it goes to council, and council debates it.
Tyler will.
Very good.
Thank you, Helen. So Tyler will work with Mr. Harcourt
Yep.
on this.
Good.
Well, sorry,
Thank you.
sorry, I'm working too, aren't you? I'm working with, yes,
You were
we're both
going to
working
do
together.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if we move a recommendation, it
we're
will
moving
largely
on.
be accepted.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Hartford.
Okay.
Cody Cooper, welcome.
No, so Cody is a
There he is.
deputation. He's a deputation,
Uh,
not
oh,
a public forum.
All right, so
If you want
Cody is
to
a
talk to the report,
deputation
yeah.
ready.
So on the next item.
We're on the next item. Okay.
Great.
Very good. Look, thank you for the time having me here today. I just want to speak in support of the no stopping and parking restrictions on the runway, specifically around the landing. Nearby business owners have been asking for these changes for some time, and a large part of the reason for that is because staff from one business are basically parking there for the majority of the day, taking away those valuable spaces that should actually be available for the use of all customers of all businesses in the area, not just dominated by that one employer. This isn't speculation either. I actually have a message from that employer admitting that they have more than 15 staff parking there on the street, and they kind of allude to that being more of an issue because the adjacent car parks are sort of time enforced and so on. This is a real impact for people. Customers looking to stop for just 5 minutes, pick up a pizza or something like that from Hal, or 20 minutes browsing at Smarty Pants. Often find nowhere to park. It makes it hard for people who are disabled who actually can't walk that distance as well. And while I understand needing a business to have a space or two for deliveries, this isn't about deliveries. There's actually already a designated loading zone there. I think it's fair that people can expect, that at least sometimes they'll get the use of those parks outside the property, albeit it won't be all the time. But I think it's fair to say it's actually damaging the other businesses there to some extent. With that said, I actually believe the proposed restrictions don't really go far enough. We're proposing to only do half of the landing. It's not a very large area, and the parks that are actually being taken up are in that uncontrolled zone. I don't know why we'd control half and not the other half. It makes very little sense to me. So I'd really urge your board to extend those restrictions to just have that element of equity. Another issue not mentioned in the report is the dangerous practices of some drivers in the area. They tend to be food delivery, couriers, that kind of thing, kind of itinerant drivers. And from what I've heard from some of the staff that I've spoken with at businesses in that area is that it's actually worse really around those sort of peak dining times. Those times sort of like 5 to 7 o'clock, there isn't enforcement available. Drivers are driving along the footpath to park. And apologies, I had a bunch of images, but I think they had some.
Yeah, sorry, they didn't come.
Sorry, to share to evidence that. Look, I believe that's happening for two reasons. First, the staff from that employer are actually taking up all the parks. People feel that, as it's just stopping for a couple of minutes, that it's fine and that they have to park on the footpath because of that. I did suggest a way to work around that would actually be moving the bollards, and that's kind of pushed back, and I don't see any recommendations in here for that. I heard that would impact people who are visually impaired, and I disagree. A four-wheel drive or a large food delivery truck parked on the footpath is going to be a much bigger impediment to someone than bollard. We already have a budget for this. I'm saying let's move the bollards closer to the street and solve that issue properly. Enforcement alone is not going to fix this, and neither is some yellow lines. Given the proposal to actually increase the speed limits around the city as well, we should install proper pedestrian crossing. Those delivery trucks usually park along the crossing because it's the only place for them to stop. Yellow line is not going to stop them doing that. It's actually put a proper crossing in, make it safer for those children that are shopping at their children's store, or someone who wants to enjoy a succulent Chinese meal. At Best Walk. At the very least, let's get some signage in there and turn it into a real crossing. So yeah, just to recap, let's put through those parking restrictions, let's extend them down the full length, move those bollards closer to the street so they actually do something, and get a proper pedestrian crossing installed. Thank you.
Thank you. Cody, any questions? Mark?
Do you know whether there's any parking in the area that the business employees could frequent?
Yeah, there's ample parking in that area. The runway itself is quite narrow. But there's a ton of adjacent streets. Wickram's very walkable. There's shared paths galore as well. So walking in the area isn't difficult like it is in some other areas like Halswell where paths don't exist. We have good paths in Wickram.
Very good. Can we refer this towards staff
Great, you must.
for advice on what's been suggested?
When the report comes up, when we make that decision.
Yeah, I've got
Thank you.
a couple of changes to the resolution
Good on you.
in mind.
And Sarah, and then
Oh, no,
Andre.
it's okay. Cool.
Corey,
Tell me how-
the bollards that you're referring to, which ones are they?
All of the bollards.
So
that are
there's
there.
bollards that at the front and at the rear of each double park. Is that
So
what?
there's at least 4 sets of bollards from memory. All of them are actually set back and more there to stop someone probably actually driving through from the road, actually through the pedestrian crossing into those car parks.
Oh, those ones. Okay.
And they're in the wrong place. Yeah, very simply. And people drive down a footpath, which is quite concerning.
Extremely.
Right. And Andre, you no longer want to?
Well, while we're here, I guess. Yeah, it's used as a courtesy crossing. It looks like a crossing, acts like a crossing, barks, quacks like a crossing, but isn't a crossing. But in terms of what we could or should do with that, just wondering if you had any thoughts.
Look, I would say my son, he's 4, turns up to somewhere, it's got tactile pavers on the ground. He expects that that's a safe place to cross.
Yeah.
And I would say it's not. It's not safe because the bricks that are on there actually gives the impression that it is a protected crossing, and it's not. So I would suggest that because of the itinerant nature of most of the people, that's how it should be, right? We should have a relatively quick turnaround. You know, you go to the hairdresser or something like that. That is probably going to increase the flow of cars going through there.
Yeah.
Wanting to park. Then we could look to actually turn it into a proper crossing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, cool.
Okay,
Making a lot of sense, my mate, as usual.
right.
So it makes sense to me.
All right, thank you so much, Cody.
That's okay.
You're welcome to stay until we discuss the report later. All right, presentation of petitions, there are none. So we move on to staff reports. Now, 148 Racecourse Road, we've got Elizabeth Hoskins. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hi, you know everybody?
I've been here before.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's good.
This
Right.
is Maria, who's Parks Asset Manager with Heritage cap on. Yeah,
Oh.
just in case you need to ask some questions.
Oh, any questions, Andre?
First, this is a first for me. Can you please explain to me in easy layman's terms, what on earth is the difference between a heritage reserve and a local purpose community reserve?
Okay, so I probably have explained that in the report. Yeah, but anyway, what it is a local purpose community reserve allows basically a kindergarten, a Plunkett, those sort of not-for-profit type organisations to use that, and it's quite restricted.
Yeah.
But a heritage reserve allows a residential use.
Yes.
For many, many years, this has been rented out as a residential house.
Yeah.
Under the wrong classification, so it's a
Gotcha.
technicality.
Yeah.
And there could be other uses under the heritage reserve.
Yep.
Which not just residential, could be some sort of commercial use, let's say, that you can't do under the local purpose.
Cool, thank you.
And if you've ever been to Tokyo, I couldn't imagine it being a kindergarten or a Plunkett or something.
No, so the explanation is summed up.
Yeah.
Very, very well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. I have a question. So these classifications, the heritage and the local purpose community reserve are all under the Reserves Act?
Yes.
I didn't find in your report any mention about the district plan. Because this reserve or this Chokbor Lodge is listed in the heritage listing in the district plan. It is
That was an
found
oversight.
in appendix 9372, schedule of significant historic heritage.
No, that was an oversight. I did say it was Heritage One classification, but Heritage have been involved all the way through. Not so much for this,
Right.
but for the restoration and redevelopment, which is what they're more interested in, is the fabric.
Well, with all due respect, I think Maria
You're
is
correct, it
with-
is scheduled in the
with-
district plan.
yes,
Yeah.
and you're with Parks Heritage.
That's right.
I'm talking about the heritage team that administers the district plan. Were they involved?
Yes, heavily since 2018.
In fact, one of the heritage team was the prior
Tenant.
tenant.
Yes,
Wow.
I remember, yes, I
Wow.
do know.
So they have no issues, even though we wouldn't specifically ask them. No issues with it being residential.
I do discuss things like that with them.
Yeah,
They're aware of it.
they were totally aware of it.
All right.
Because we had to do healthy home standard and et cetera. Maria had to, as part of it.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
I'm happy to move.
All right. Move, any seconder?
No, she did.
Oh,
Earlier.
Oh, Tyler wanted to move earlier.
Oh, that's all right.
We'll take Tyler and then Mark to second.
Yep.
Second. And any debate? No, put the motion, you can please, step back and.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where am I skipping to?
Wherever you like, really. It's not the table, anywhere.
That's all right.
Cheers.
Which is, yeah, we'll see, yeah. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Woo.
All right.
Good work, team.
Now, we move on to the next item, Moffett Reserve Play Space Renewal, Design Approval. Holly, welcome to the table. Right. And you've been here before us before.
Long ago.
Right, okay. So, do we want to hear from Holly or we have just, move on to questions?
That's all you want to speak.
Yes, Holly want to speak?
Yes.
Yeah, I can speak. Maybe just in the context of what I was told about the recent interaction with the neighbour. Do the wider board know about that?
No, everyone, no.
Would it be best to come from you guys? Isn't it?
As a question, perhaps?
Yes, okay.
Do you have a presentation?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, just need
So
to.
then we'll move on to questions.
What
Mark?
happened?
Yeah, so Mark will explain.
Yep. So I went and saw the neighbour today.
He's had 2 visits.
Yes, he's had
Okay.
2 visits.
Okay.
He must be feeling very special. He's had
He must.
2 members of the council. So he was talking to me about the fact that there's a gate at the back of the reserve that is often accessed for when it's required, access for fire vehicles to get through and help fight fires out on the back paddock there. And that'll obviously be blocked by this design.
Yeah, it would probably be blocked by every design if we met the playground standards. I guess is the short answer. So I've spoken there. Within parks, that gate isn't used, and the owner of the property behind is Transpower. And I've spoken with many layers of people from Transpower and got permission that that is not a service gate. They don't need it. They don't have it kept as an asset. They didn't even know it existed, and they're happy for us to fill that space with play equipment. So we've sort of got that approval from the landowner behind. And I haven't spoken to Fens, but looking at it from an aerial view, there is so many. I would hazard a guess at about 10 access points to that Transpower corridor. And that would be a very narrow one that they'd choose, even just at the end of the road, go down Moffett Road and a bit further.
Yeah.
And there's another massive exit. So yeah, we've got permission to no longer need that gate.
Right.
Cool.
Okay,
I was interested to see if the gate's actually padlocked.
Exactly. And it's not a parks key.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't managed to find out who knows what that padlock.
Must be a transparent.
Right.
Yeah, and they didn't know it existed yet.
Okay, just before we move on to Sarah, because I think I'll have to mention it for the wider board. Just for info, I should have said this before Mark. But because when this came, the draft agenda came, my concern at that time, because this reserve is a legal road, but it has a split zoning. One is open space. 2/3 of it is open space, 1/3 is transport zone. If they place the new playground equipment in the open space, there are setback requirements. They need 10 meters from the residential boundary, which they cannot achieve in this
19
space.
meters wide.
No way.
So what they're proposing now is to move that playground equipment to the transport zone part of that reserve, where there are no setback requirements. My concern here was that because on both sides of that reserve, both are residential properties. So regardless of what the zoning is, you still have residential properties who will be affected by this proposal. So what we were looking at was was to get the feedback from those two properties adjoining that reserve. So yesterday, Sarah and I went to see if somebody was home. So we managed to talk to the one person, the neighbor, and this morning, Councillor Peters followed up and spoke to him as well. And he was not supportive of the proposal because he had concerns. So
just for a little bit of context to that, so they were, everybody in the neighbourhood was informed through the consultation at the mid-end of last year. Then I've spoken to the neighbour on the left who basically is in support, even said we should go as far as putting a basketball court in. So that was all go ahead from 74. 72, I have sent an email directed to the individual and a letter and had no response. So they've had 3 opportunities to provide feedback on this and have not done so to me.
Yes, and this resident is one of those who react and say, why? Because I asked, why did you not put in a submission? Why did you not provide your comment? Said, what for? It's because council never listens. So
You hear that a lot.
yeah, so
is there consent required from them
no.
to be able to build these?
I went to talk to them out of courtesy. We're not required to.
No, they're not
It was a
required,
courtesy.
not within the transport zone, but in the open space zone at the back part of the.
We would need
they
resource
would
consent,
be
which would
required.
take up 10 to 15% of the overall budget and would affect just the back neighbour just the same. It doesn't get wider at the back. We've not just taken the easier option. It's the same width the whole way along. So whether we put it at the front or at the back, has the same impact on neighbours.
Except in the front part, you're not required a resource consent,
Exactly.
only at the back
I
part.
love bureaucracy. Exactly.
All right, maybe we'll move on to Sarah.
I just want to clarify. So usually if you hadn't gone the extra mile to consult with these neighbours, is it correct that you wouldn't have talked to them at all?
We would always let a drop to the local to the residents. A sign will go up in the park. So they'll be offered it the ability to talk on the consultation, have your say.
Yeah.
Going and informing them of the concept plan prior to board approval was a courtesy.
Right.
That I just took upon myself because of the narrowness of the reserve.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't usually,
That's
extra.
been in an extra, yeah.
Yeah.
If we got resource consent, they would have, I forget the right terminology, but they would be directly affected,
Yeah.
yes.
And no feedback whatsoever from.
None.
Yeah. Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay, Helen.
Yes, how long has this concept been on the annual plan or long-term plan? Has it been there for 5 years or so, or is it just
Sorry, the concept.
the concept of having a landscape plan for this park?
I mean, it's just in our planned rolling.
It's in the program, not necessarily as a project now.
Oh,
It's a renewal.
It's a renewal and so the existing equipment's been there for 40 years.
40 years at least.
40 years, the existing
40
equipment,
years.
but we've only just gone through the renewal process in the last 6 months.
And I guess the other question I've got, is it possible to adjust this?
Yes.
Yeah.
adjustments, I guess the reserve doesn't get any wider. We have to be able to get mowers through. We could reconfigure it, but we will require resource consent, which ultimately any money put into the resource consent will take away from play value, and we could end up in a very similar situation.
Okay.
So we opted to not go for the resource consent. But either way, you're going to have a very full, it's a 90-metre wide reserve. Whatever you put in it, it's going to be very full with the new playground standards that are requiring the soft fall on the fall zones. It's just changed.
Okay.
So there's not really a way to be further away from the neighbours.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and any changes we do make will come at the detriment of play value, because we'll have to go back, apply for resource consent, redesign, and ultimately, you know, hypothetically, I'm taking an estimate here, but if we go for resource consent, it means we won't get the swing set, for example, and we'll have just one play item. So it's at the detriment of play value.
But in terms of, can I ask, in terms of a resource consent, it could be done within 3 months, I would imagine.
How long
guarantee?
Piece of string.
No.
I thought it was simple.
Question, what's the implications, or how would it be if we reconfigure it away from 72?
I mean,
in the transport zone.
74.
He's very keen.
I guess we could shift it all over.
Reconfigure.
We could move it all over. The reason we put it closer, you'll see from the designs, that the higher piece of equipment is on 74 side.
Yes.
The S person. And so we intentionally put the lower piece of equipment closer to the.
So that landscaping and the picnic table
could all
to
move
the other
over,
side.
But that would be quite close to his property, and it is quite a bit.
Well, then probably swing it to the other side.
If you look at the I'd have to change all the equipment because the orientation of the fall zones.
I see.
That is quite purposefully chosen with the fall zones of the slide to fit that way. But we could look with more, we could look at reorientating.
So just also.
But it's only going to move it maybe 2 meters.
Right.
It might, if you see it's a 1.9 gap, it will gain 2 meters. Yeah.
Just also for the wider board's info, the concern of 72, the picnic table is mainly the picnic table, having it there. At nighttime, it becomes a
Party zone.
party zone.
Drug.
Indoor deal.
Yeah, so he's fine. I mean, it's fine during the day. It's nighttime, and he's got a 2-story, and his bedroom's right up, just overlooking it.
So you're saying move the picnic table 2 meters or not have it? What's been?
To the other side, closer to the other property.
No, I think he didn't want it at all.
He
to
didn't
deter
want
that
it,
from
but if
happening.
we had it, move it to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, we'd gain 2 meters of distance.
Yes, that would.
Stopping a drug deal by taking out a picnic table. I mean, come on.
It was that simple, mate.
And on the flip side, if thinking about it from if you're taking that perspective, and we do hypothetically move the whole thing to the back of the reserve from a SIPTED perspective, crime prevention through environmental design. The further back we put it, the less sight lines, the more illicit behaviour. So having it at the front has that benefit.
Makes good sense.
And what it doesn't show in that design, just to add, it did say in the report, there is going to be a post and chain fence to deter children running towards the road, even though it's a quiet road. But because that was the danger of having it at the front.
Happy to move.
Cool, happy to move it.
Happy to move the table?
No, move the report. Move the report. I think Holly's done a great job of explaining this.
Are you going with option 1 then?
Yes.
Staff recommendations.
Thanks.
You'll maybe second, yeah. Get on.
Mark will take second.
Do you want to change that, Maria? Or are you okay?
I'm going to abstain.
You understand?
Do I go now?
Okay.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank
Good work.
Right, I'll put the motion.
Can I just speak to it quickly?
Okay.
So thank you, Holly, for your work. I'm amazed how quickly you've turned this around. To come from the memo we got in November to a design and having it approved here right now is like staggering. Well done. And yes, we have been and visited the neighbour and we've heard their concerns. And hearing the SEPTED input around the table positioning and the likes actually explains a lot around why it is where it is. And hopefully having a wonderful new playground in this location with some pretty fantastic new facilities will actually raise the standard in the community, and hopefully the community can help respect and protect and revitalise this neighbourhood. I noticed the Transport Department did a stunning job in the intersection recently because there was a problem there with the seal ripping up, so it's now been asphalted, and now they have this new playground going in there. I think this is really going to lift this area quite nicely, and I'm happy to move this, and hopefully the board can back this and get it underway and get it installed for the community, because I think it's going to be a great asset for them.
Right. Anybody else want to say something? Helen?
Yeah, I'm happy to go with where Hornby people are on this around the table, but it seems that if you shifted the actual table, it might solve the person's concerns.
What's the distance?
I won't push anything against Hornby people, but it just seems if you shifted the
It might
table.
also worsen it by taking it into darker corners.
Yeah, but anyway,
more attractive places.
I won't move it, but it's a suggestion.
All right. Anybody? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? And
I think Debbie said aye.
And Debbie said aye.
She's not
Okay.
yes. Thank you, Debbie.
All right. Carried.
Excellent.
All right.
Do you want to note your abstention?
Yeah, it's noted already.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we move on to the next one, the runway Wigram. Proposed no stopping and parking restrictions. Edwin.
You got
We have Edwin. Edwin. Hello, welcome, Edwin.
Edwin.
You have a question or are you moving? All right. Question from Andre. Do you have a presentation? No?
No, I don't.
No. Take your report as read. Okay, Andre.
Thanks, Ewan. We got just the 4 submissions. Well, they're all just, yep, we approve. Sorry if I've missed this here. Is it all just very much a yes, we approve, or are there any other suggestions on things we might have missed?
Yes, they all approve. And some actually suggest having another like the loading zone. Because there are some issues that the gentleman just now pointed out. They are parking on the like a crossing area, which they currently don't have the yellow lines.
Yeah,
that's why. But in my suggestion, I told them that because we are putting in P10, which is like a short-term parking, that they can actually have park there, and then the turnover will be quick as well.
Yeah,
if they can't find any parking, there's already the existing loading zone on the north eastern side already. One day.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Do you have any thoughts on adding, I think, 4 more additional 10-minute parks? If you're going further down from where they are currently. Are we able to bring up the map on the screen?
What page? Oh, there we go. Page 60.
Yeah, well, did you have a view, I guess, on the viability or effectiveness of adding 4 more 10-minute parks?
Yeah, I guess the plan is not clear. Yeah. All the northeastern side, they already have parking restriction.
So we've already got them here?
Yeah.
We've already got them here?
Yeah.
So let's make all of them.
How long are they?
So the one on the what do you call the southeast side?
Yeah.
There's P10, and then the loading zone. There's two P10 and then the loading zone.
Yeah.
And then on the northern side, you have P60. All P60.
Gotcha. Yep. So all timed currently.
Yeah. So I
Okay,
do a
gotcha.
different restriction so that everyone gets a,
Yeah,
time.
a good mix. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Variety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Sarah, and then Mark.
I think somebody mentioned about enforcement.
Yes, sorry.
How much enforcement will be?
It all depends on, if there's any, the parking enforcement team would normally do a round.
They'll just add it to their
Yeah.
cycle and.
Yeah, there's already a restriction there, so they'll just come around and do their check.
Okay.
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
Is it enforcement up to the shops, or is it up to the council? Is the enforcement of that?
The council, yeah.
Is the council enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark?
You would have heard the deputation talking about trying to formalise that crossing point. Is that something that we can look at progressing down the track to help make that a safer crossing environment?
We sort of need to look at the, I suppose the number of pedestrians actually crossing to justify whether there's like a zebra crossing is worth. The other alternative solution is that we can put in some sort of a information sign to say pedestrian give way to vehicles.
Okay. I'd certainly like us, if we can, to look at some mitigation or extra installation there to hear, Mr. Cooper's report of his 4-year-old child, presuming it's a safe place to cross. I think to make that a safer place to cross with the formal backup would be, I think, very beneficial.
The other thing is to consider is when we install zebra crossing, we need to make it to the standard, which it will add up cost, and then we have the lighting as well to consider as well. That's not just putting road marking and signs. There's other issues we have to consider.
Can we get some advice for that?
I was going to add a resolution.
That'll be good. Yeah. Thank you. Please call that.
We'll add something. Okay.
Well, I'm happy to move the resolution with an additional line.
Let's go back up.
For the recommendation,
And so you want to add in A22.
number 22?
Yes, number 22. It's seek staff advice on the crossing beside Smarty Pants. Now, and just to clarify as well, this is something that was brought to our board 2 years ago around that crossing. Yeah, my concern with just putting give way to cars, it's currently used as a courtesy crossing. So it'll be really hard behaviour to change with just a sign. So it is an advice that's come back to us since it was brought to our board a couple of years ago. So it would be good advice to get. Seek staff advice on viable, cost-effective crossing solutions at that part of the runway. You know what I mean? Can't really write that. 106 is the runway it should be.
Did you say 106?
Yeah,
Okay, 106.
according to my Google Street View, it should be around 106.
We just put something like board with staff advice on options to viable options to facilitate pedestrian crossing in the vicinity.
Yeah, I think
Something
so.
like that?
Yeah.
It's a bit narrow for a refuge, isn't it? Yeah, it is a bit.
Any other questions? No? Thank you, Edwin.
Yes, I do have one, Marie.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thanks, Debbie. Go ahead.
Just quickly, thank you for that, Edwin. I'm just wondering, it has been a question for some time, as Andre raised. Is it because it's a 30k area, or is that not relevant for a pedestrian crossing? So you can put pedestrian crossings in a 30k area?
When you say
Rotherham Street, for example.
Crossing, is it zebra crossing?
Zebra crossing, yeah.
Yeah. This all depends on the demand and the numbers that justify putting in.
It will come back in the sum price that we're seeking.
Oh, yeah.
A good example, Debbie, is Rotherham Street, which works, I think, really well.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, okay, thanks,
Um,
Debbie. One more from Andre.
Sorry, just to clarify, can the resolution note that there was a notice of motion at the community board meeting on the September the 6th, 2022 that we're awaiting a response to?
Wow,
Wow.
how did you find that?
Got my ways. Got my ways. No, I remember there's a bunch of community feedback about this. I just did a search.
Yeah.
And according to my sources, there was a notice of motion that might have got changed to a presentation from Sarah Smarty Pants. I can't quite recall. So there may well have been a notice of motion.
I can't really note that.
yeah, no, you can't. Fair enough. I should be able to check for you right
It
now.
will go through as an action to staff and we'll note it on.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Did you want me to
Can you read
read
again?
out the words
Yeah.
I've got? So staff recommendation is on the agenda, on the report on the agenda, and adding a 22 in here. The board requests advice on the viable options to improve safe pedestrian crossing in the vicinity of 106. The runway.
Yep. Yes, that's great.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Edwin. Also, Andre moved and Mark second.
Aye.
No debate,
Oh, my
and
goodness.
so we'll do it as the whole block, including number 22. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin. Right?
Thank you.
And so we move on to number 10, Linfield Avenue and Maydale Street intersection, proposed no stopping restrictions. Oh,
Happy to move.
again.
Yeah, second.
The moved by
I'll second.
Skylar, seconded by Helen,
Yeah.
and no debate?
No.
No?
Let's do it. Aye.
Right. All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Thank you, Edwin.
Yeah,
Carried.
thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. Ken?
I thought that was Waimari for some reason.
Moved by Skylar, seconded by Helen.
Boundary line.
The wrong way around, sorry.
Sorry, we don't need a joint meeting to do that, do we? Oh, God.
Right, now we move on to the next, Marie.
Yes.
Welcome, Marie. And Helen.
Yes, so I'm chairing this because of a conflict of interest with Marie, who's
Okay.
actually involved with the Hornby Patrol. So they're wanting money for their 30th anniversary, 1,428. Mover, Mark,
Happy to move. Second.
seconded Sarah. Any comment? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Super easy.
Carried, thanks, Marie.
Good work, Marie.
Nice work.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving back in. Great. Next item, we've got the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board Area Report for February, and we've got Bailey.
I'll take that one as read.
Any questions? Question or moving?
No, just a question.
Okay, question, Mark.
Just, I was noticing there the Maratiki pop-up play sessions. Do we have any feedback from staff as to how those are going? Imagine they're a real hit.
Yes. So I understand the most recent one was very windy, so they packed up a little bit soon, but our summer assistant has been leading that and they've been very popular. And really cool to see that space activated so soon after Masatiki opens, and then when the nature play space, which we're expecting to come to the board soon, that we've funded through our Better Off Fund. So that's the space that we've been trying to activate. So the opening was a really cool show of how that space can be used. We've been doing the pop-up plays, and then the nature play will be built soon. Yeah, so they've been very popular, and the libraries have been working with our summer assistant and using that space more as well. So it's been very popular.
Excellent. Good to hear.
I have a question, Bailey. Who is our representative or board representative to the Community Pride Guardian Awards?
Yeah.
Debbie.
Debbie. Have you started the?
Well, that was that was something I was actually just going to point out, because in the report it says that it's completed when the 16th of February, we're going out on the 5th of March, so the dates on that report aren't. It says that it starts 25th of January through to 16th of February. I'm going out the 5th of March.
Okay, so that'll just need an amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be written in the minutes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It'll be something we continue to update.
Yeah.
I can report.
Thank you, Debbie.
I can report back after that.
Yeah, thank you.
Some of the judging has happened because we've been receiving the cards, yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? No? Everybody happy with the area report?
Just ask for information on the resolutions of the SLAs and the ticketing. We're still staying around that sort of 10 to 12% mark on not hitting our SLAs within time, and I just want to know why. Is there a possibility of asking for more information on?
Yeah, I meet with staff and
cool.
because you had asked for that at the end of last year as well.
Yeah.
So you have access to that dashboard as well, I understand.
Do I?
So I can circulate.
Really?
Everybody?
I don't think
You're supposed to say that, or?
the reporting.
It's on public record now.
But otherwise we can sit and we can go through them month by month. Because so this one, there's these two in there. So the actual amount reported is quite significant. But yes, we can dive deeper into each of those things. Yeah. And if you don't have access, then I can sit with you and show you what that looks like.
Oh, please. Yes.
Let's make a session.
Yeah, I did ask when we were discussing this draft agenda, why there is a decrease in resolved within SLA from 91.58 to 88.8%.
Some holiday.
From November to December. But yeah, anybody's guess, it's near Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So any mover? Andre and
Hank?
Seconded by Hank. Good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Move on to the last item. And we're early. Elected members information exchange. Who wants to share first? Anybody's sharing? So Mark and then Helen, Tyler, Andre, Mark, Helen, Tyler, Andre. Cool. Go for it, Mark.
All right. I guess I'll start with a biggie. You may have heard yesterday that the Air Force Museum are looking to land a rather large aircraft on the remaining airfield, being a L-130C Hercules. Landing in the airfield will be quite a spectacle. So they're waiting for the right weather pattern to come through, give them the right wind to be able to land into. And I understand they'll be looking to approach from Corsair Drive and land towards Vickery's to land the beast and stop it in time to deliver it to the Air Force Museum.
Going to land there and then just
and
there?
it'll park there forever.
Forever. Oh.
Yep. And with that, there is a project underway to try and formulate what's needed and also then fundraise for a new aircraft hall to locate the Hercules and the Orion aircraft in the aircraft hall. So watch that space as that project.
Reasonable size hall.
It's going to be a reasonable size hall. If you think about the Teresa Angela low wing that's there now, it'll be that sort of nature.
Yeah.
Big and open.
When are they planning to land it again?
It is sometime the next 2 weeks.
When you least expect it.
Yeah.
How can we watch?
No.
Well, the thing being, they can't predict it too well. Really dependent heavily on the weather patterns.
The weather.
They've got to get the wind right to be able to land it. So we're crossing our fingers and hoping that we're going to get the right weather in the two-week window to land it.
And it might take a couple of times.
And it might circle a couple of times to be able to check that it's got the right conditions. Yeah.
Which would be good, actually.
Yeah.
Have a good.
Could draw a crowd.
Yeah.
I hate to think of the traffic management for that. But
Hopefully we get early notice.
I think it might be a case of really watch the sky and watch that space. get on your bike pretty quick to get out there, because there'll be some pretty big traffic jams.
They are going to notify the neighbours, I think, and
Yes.
the people down Corsair, as the Corsair drivers comes over.
Yeah, and they'll probably be talking to Lodestar as well. I'd say the Wigram Retirement Village, you don't want any, the old folks in there getting too shot.
Right.
Pretty low.
Anything else?
No, I think we'll call it on that. We'll just keep on doing the mahi.
Cool. Thank you, Mark. Helen?
Yes, just a small issue. Had a concern from a Service Street resident about trees being taken down, being vandalised, and planting again. We were told earlier it was April. Have you heard back? Not yet. And there's two other questions about trees in Middle Park and Middleton. So that will come back. Okay. I'm actually on leave tomorrow, so I won't be back till the following Sunday. So I'm out of action, and I think that's all actually, other than Plan Change 14. I put a question through: is it coming back to council or not? I presume it's not. The bulk of Plan Change 14 recommendations.
Purely the one issue's been notice of motion, I believe.
So, and I just want to hear from councillors about the rates. How, where did you get from me, just in broad sweep?
7.58 was where it landed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a view on that. But,
so it's going out for consultation. Yes. Everyone will have their chance to have.
But anyway, that's no. Was it contentious or was it harmonious?
It was split, I'd say.
It's collegial.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It was very collegial.
Collegial, yeah.
Right.
There are some that are happy, there are some that are grumpy.
Grumpy.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Get a mixture in this room.
That's all.
That's
Thank
all.
you.
Tyler?
I've got a little, there we go. Just a little update from day one. I've got 113 events very soon by the end of this week. There's currently 67 local issues that we've solved, and then there's more than 7 outstanding now. But just wanted to give an update to the public around what the issues are. And the main issue I've been having between myself and public is they don't report it to council first. They come straight to me, and then I've got to put in a hybris or something for them to be able to go to council. So there's limited knowledge of engagement to council or the use of Snap Send Solve. A lot of communities don't know how to use that yet. But they do regard the call centre to be one of the best things that council's got, particularly that they're 24/7. However, some of these are elevated issues of which I'm working with staff directly on at Hereford Street. So the first one is businesses on Riccarton Road are feeling unsafe, particularly with lighting. Car parks at the back of those shops adjacent to Tutuki Street from the top of my head.
The northern side, Riccarton,
Rada?
Ringley Street and Rada Street.
Yeah. So there's car parks at the back that are poorly lit, usually during the winter, and a lot of female business owners feel extremely unsafe sometimes.
Is that private car park or council?
No, it's council.
It's council on the top of my mind.
There's some private, a lot of council.
Next one is the flooding on Tutuki Street, of which the Kilmarnock Residents Association have been working on. That's due to be coming up in October to be resurfaced. But there's currently scoping works looking to be done. And that actually aligns with the Kahu Road one around electric bus noise. The electric buses are driving over water services and vibrating homes. And some of the residents have been saying, we've gone through the earthquake, but now we're getting PTSD from the erratic shaking on a regular basis. So I really feel for them on that. Due to the services being underground and having uneven road surfacing, that's therefore adding more noise. There's fly tipping in Harrington that continues to be an issue, and I actually really want to encourage maybe this board to work with Kainga Ora around some of those issues, because they do have an outreach program of which we could probably align ourselves with to address those issues with fly tipping. And lastly, Darville Street, after the Three Waters works, a few residents have come straight to me without complaining to council around the road quality. They've patched up roadworks on asphalt. It's a bit wonky. And the last one is, you're going to laugh at this one. So this is what I've got issue with, is with bureaucracy. There was new homeowners, they just bought a new house. The last owner knocked down a native tree, a kowhai tree, and then the council figured it out, and it was a part of the old limb. Then they went to the new owner and said, you need to sort this out, you knocked down a native tree, what's going on here? So now they needed to work with the consenting team, to put in a new kowhai tree or a native that are similar to that. They've got to be 1,500 millimeters off the ground, and it has to be installed by a professional to make sure it gets sign off. It's ridiculous. So they finally got consent. Bailey gave me an update today. They finally got consent, but now they've got to go to lawyers to sort out the limb. I find that absolutely ridiculous to think that someone knocks a tree down and then they've got to put in a tree to certain specs, but that's not the issue. The issue is getting a professional installer to come and put a tree in the ground. Like, I just find that absolutely ridiculous. So those are the things that we've got across Riccarton. There's a lot more going on, and Garth over here has got a few more good ones that I'm willing to work with. So that's the update.
Right. Can I just ask, I would have thought the owner of the house with the tree could actually make a claim against the actual previous owner and take them to the disputes tribunal.
I mean, imagine going to the disputes tribunal over a tree. It just sounds so crazy.
It sounds like it's going to cost them 1,000 or 2,000, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, let's hope that it works
And
itself
the
out.
agent, I mean, it's all tangled up with that, but
Yeah.
so the first owner has done the duty basically on the coming in owner.
Yeah, they essentially wanted to improve the house price by
Yeah.
making it look more aesthetically pleasing
Yeah.
to try and, sell off.
You borrow a tree from the bush.
And don't you go get joking about trees.
All right.
I'll borrow some hawthorn ones. Yeah. Just a
All
couple.
done?
Yeah, all done.
All right, thank you for that very good presentation of what you've been doing. Is that day one from 3 years ago or last year?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago, right? Andre?
I just checked, it was September 6, 2022, where Sarah from Smarty Pants came and spoke to the board. So an action would have been taken from that public forum rather than a notice of motion being put in. I restructured my item, so I finish on it positive. Halls Junction Road is diabolical. The repair job's taken 12 months so far, and it's not done yet. The road hasn't been left level. No, because it's not level. Watch the space on this one.
Is that the contractor, or have we got our design wrong?
It's worn out, but it's got not level there.
I am just we're gonna watch the space now. Though as contractor has to come back and finish the work before they get paid. In short, but I need to be sure that we've contracted the right type of treatment for that road.
Yes.
It's been chip sealed, not asphalt. I'm told it couldn't have handled asphalt. That may be, but I'm keen to agree.
Rather than reseal.
And it's a major road.
Both them are funny noise asphalt.
Oh yeah, no, I'd appreciate
Living road.
Yeah, it was 10,000 vehicle movements a day, 1,000 of those being heavy vehicle movements a day. Most of them doing.
And it used to be
well
an outlier road at one, say 20
Well,
years ago.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's
But
not getting
it's
any
not now,
quieter. And yeah, now I've got media asking me about it, so I think the Herald are doing a story on it, and it's the situation's not pretty. Big road, a lot of people on it. Dodgy internet coverage, or cell phone coverage, sorry, particularly around Kennedy's Bush area and beyond. It's just cell phone coverage not keeping up with growth in the area, basically. So I put out a Survey Monkey. Turns out I have to pay $67 a month to read all the responses on it. So now I'm paying $67 a month for Survey Monkey. But I got 143 responses from people with poor cell phone coverage in different parts of Hull. So I'm mapping out the areas and forwarding on to someone who will then be able to forward that on to the cell phone companies and say, hey, what's going on? And they also want to be looped in with our planning staff to get an idea of where more homes are to come. You may hear more about that one, but it's quite a fast spread issue, as it turns out. And we're talking built up parts of Halswell now, not what were once rural areas, now with a whole lot of people in them, but with no cell phone coverage. Well, yeah, well, it particularly is up around those areas where they've had to evacuate and, yeah.
Alerts.
Well, yeah, so it would be a good thing to have sorted. And, the positive note, no, sorry, I've got one more negative before the positive. Waipes Road, as of today, is closed for a month. Once again, elected members weren't notified, the wider public not notified. It beggars belief how we can close roads for a month or more, without notifying the public. It's nuts. And I said the same thing in November at a meeting, because we did the same thing with Sparks Road. Closed for a month, or maybe two, maybe more. But we don't notify the public, nothing gets sent to elected members. Nothing's changed in years. When will it change? Goodness knows. I put a notice of motion through at council in November 2023, which hasn't been responded to.
Has it been passed through council?
Yeah, it got passed through council. Just no response as a result. So we're still, roads are allowed to be closed. Council knows, because council has to approve the road closure.
Yes.
But there's no courtesy to let elected members know so they can notify the wider public.
They're normally quite good on this.
No, well, not in Halswell. Not in Halswell, they're not. Well, sorry, it's not for growth projects, because it's developers will close the road to do their works for underground services and whatnot.
Yes.
So they apply to council to close the road. Council approves it, but doesn't tell anyone.
Doesn't tell anyone.
That's sort of the problem.
Okay.
When council does work, the notices are really good. They come to us.
They come out.
But yeah. But something has fallen through the cracks here. I've gone as high as possibly can. I've brought it to council's notice of motion. But our organisation is not competent enough, as it seems, to get a notice of a road closure for 1 month to elected members. Biggest belief, if you ask me.
Is that being done by council or by a developer? That question.
Well, I'm at the point where just anyone
let
me know the road's going to be closed for a month. So we'll go let others know. I don't mind who the notice comes from.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is we know it's going to be closed because it has to be approved.
Yes.
Yeah. And the requirements are to letterbox drop anyone immediately impacted. And all that needs to be added is a requirement, just flick an email to the community board staff or the elected members.
Yep.
That's all that needs to be there in the requirement. Then the contractor or developers would be able to do that in addition to their letterbox drop and door knock.
Yep.
Certainly not rocket science. It's just not happening. So yeah, good times. But on a positive note, Halls Community Patrol has just ticked over 20 people on board, which it's pretty impressive. That's in the space of a few months. A lot of patrols around Christchurch, around sort of 50, 60 or so, well established for many years. So to get 20 in just a few months, phenomenal effort. So I think very soon that'll be built up to a point where it's as big as other community patrols in Christchurch. And this means that the amount of patrols being done in the area have rapidly expanded.
Good.
And these are all new trained up volunteers as well, rather than taken from other patrols. So
Are these
that's really positive
from
news.
when we launched the Halswell Patrol?
Yeah.
20 or on top of the 20, another 20?
Up to 20 total.
20 total.
20 total, yeah. If they had 40 already, I tell you what, they've already surpassed other patrols that have been in Toronto. That would be very impressive.
That'll be next year.
Well, hey, if we can get to 40 next year, that'd be phenomenal. But that's a really positive note to finish off. So I'm going to leave it there. Very positive note. Happy days. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Just on that note, I was wondering if you're aware what's I don't know, we can take it offline, but it's the Riccarton Community Patrol. I know they were struggling with members.
Yeah.
They still are?
Yeah, they're doing another they're doing
Recruit.
anniversary celebration in a couple of weeks actually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yes, they can always welcome more people.
Right. I guess it's happening all over.
For anyone in TV land, if you want to volunteer for the community patrol anywhere in the city, get on board. Pretty useful stuff.
So just a question. Yeah. Our community engagement budget, are we able to just get an update on anything that might be available in there and what we're using it for? Because things like community patrol, and if there's one struggling
We
with
can
members,
help with.
well, we can engage both the community board and with that kind of thing. Yeah, it's good to know where we're at with that and what opportunities there might be between now and the end of the financial year. Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. Anybody else wants to share anything?
Yes, just the other thing is, 27th of March, we've got a meeting and part of it's on, Dean's Avenue, area with the traffic intersection. I've had a couple of quite concerned residents about that. And the other thing that's happened is that Shirley Papanui Innes say that they're entitled to come and they're entitled to vote on it.
Central.
No,
It's central,
Central.
Central,
Papanui.
it's
Not
Oh, is it
Shirley.
the ward boundary?
Yeah.
Yes.
The other side of Dean's.
So,
The boundary is
so
at the middle
yes,
of
they
the
would
road.
get
a different board is able to come and vote on it.
Yeah.
So, I think there'll be a number of
within their boundary
residents
as well.
speaking, but it's not quite as
So-
harmonious as perhaps
But
people thought.
What are the residents' concerns?
It's the jutting out of the traffic signals. So it's slowing down to one lane only.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the main issue.
It was never going to be easy, and that's what we've got to work through as elected members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry,
But-
their concern is the crossing and plan itself rather than it impacting their homes. So,
I think some are impacted, but
Okay.
others
Yeah.
aren't. It's mainly that thoroughfare.
gotcha.
Yeah.
all right,
Cool.
okay.
I'm going to catch the Dean's Precinct barbecue right now. So just anyone that's happy to come if they want to come.
We'll close now.
Is there food?
Yeah,
That's right.
there's a barbecue.
All right, Karakia.
You're good.
Yeah, Galaxia, Tamana, Tinaka, Titina, Koyara, Irumo,
Thank you. The meeting is closed. Right.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to have to answer them about the crossing.
Crossing to it, yeah. I think we could do it without the jutting out, actually.
Well, I don't know what jutting out means.
It means that you slow it down to one lane only. It's like Church Corner. Yeah.
Oh,